Let's check out the chess. Angelechy. Angelechy. I should probably Google Translate. How do we pronounce this nonsense? Whoa, 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 don't record my voice. Get out of here.
Angelechy.
Angelechy?
Angelechy.
Angelechy?
Angelechy.
That sounds horrible.
Angelechy.
I'm not saying Angelechy.
Angelechy.
Okay. Well, new Angelechy, according to Google Translate, world premiere theme and more is here. This deck type has been hyped up immensely over the past few months. And finally, let's see what they do. Starting off with Witness of the Ancient. Is this part of the archetype? What does this do? Starting off with an overframe right away. Level 8 Light Machine Tuner Effect Monster, 0 attack, 3000 defense. If you have a Synchro monster in your field or graveyard, you could special summon this card from your hand. If this card is special summoned, you could place up to 3 Synchro monsters with different names from your extra deck and or graveyard in your spell and trap zones as face-up continuous spells. And special summon 1 Arc token. What's the level? With a level, okay, with a level equal to the number placed. Equal to the number placed, up to 3, so level 1, 2, or 3. Also, is it a tuner token? It's just a regular token. Arc token, I don't see tuner on it. Also, for the rest of this turn, you cannot special summon from the extra deck except Synchro monsters. You could only use each effect of Witness of the Ancient once per turn. Now, obviously, without the context of the archetype, this means absolutely nothing. And we don't have gameplay because this was just unveiled today. So on Decade Alt on twitch.tv, that's where I'm going to be streaming more frequently, up to date as soon as the announcements for new cards happen. We can talk about them, but then we don't have Elexordia ready with the gameplay. Shamanite. So wait, this is Angelechy? Angelechy? No Angelechy here. No Angel archetype here. What? So are these just miscellaneous cards you could use with the deck type if you want? This already has a Synchro summon restriction, but it's for the rest of the turn, not the turn you activate this. Yet we're looking at an Xyz. Okay, let's see. 2+ level 3s. Well, I already know Radiant Typhoon is going to be using this, so you could put Radiant Typhoon into any deck. If this card is Xyz summoned, or if a trap you own is banished. A trap you own is banished, or on Xyz summon, not special summon, you can target one of your banished traps, attach it to this card. You could then, whenever you want, in an open game state, you could detach any number of materials from this card, then target 1 dark monster in your graveyard or banishment with a level equal to the number detached. This is a light. You'd have to detach freaking 8 materials to target Witness of the Ancient to get this back out. Okay. Detach any number, target a dark monster in the graveyard or banishment with a level equal to the number detached. Special summon it. So I'm thinking, if you really want Xyz materials, what would you do? You would, with Radiant Typhoon specifically, if you wanted to attack this any deck, you summon Swen, you search Chant, Chant searches Eldum, Eldum searches Magala, then with Magala, Eldum, and Swen, you get to immediately be 3 Xyz material for the Shamanite. Is that a worthy? I guess you then could detach 3 to reborn a level 3 dark. Okay. Special summon it. You can only use each effect of the Shamanite once per turn. Again, don't have no idea if this will be good or not. This looks pretty. This looks like some manga art, like Berserk. Not that I've read or seen that, but it's kind of got that vibe. No, this is definitely interesting. This looks different than any art I think we've ever had. Okay. Angelechy problem. Field spell. Once per turn, you could discard a spell/trap, special summon 1 level 2 Angelechy monster from your extra deck. And if you do, place 1 Angelechy monster from your extra deck to your spell and trap zone as a continuous spell. So we saw the earlier monster having something to do with putting monsters as continuous spells. And this is special summoning, not considered a synchro summon if it's a synchro summon archetype. kind of similar to how Tri-Brigade summoning from the extra deck, they're improperly summoned. But the Tri-Brigades have to mess with the link arrows because they're link monsters. This is just going to be whatever you want, just dumping them from the extra deck. If a face-up Angelechy monster you control, monster card you control, so that would be still the spell Angelechy that you have in your as a continuous spell. It's a continuous spell and a monster card at the same time. So let's say it gets MST'd. If your Angelechy in the back row gets MST'd or your monster gets destroyed by battle or card effect, you could then, on a separate chain, return one Angelechy monster you own from your spell and trap zone to the extra deck. Then you could special summon it. Okay, so another Angelechy gets destroyed. It's not destroyed by the opponent. It could be your own way of destroying it, possibly. All right. And then return from the back row into the extra deck and then slap it on the field. In addition to this, already summoning a level 2 Angelechy from your extra deck onto the field. But this one would not be restricted to level 2. So if you want a non-level 2 Synchro, so initially it gets a level 2 Synchro, then any Angelechy you want from the extra deck in the back row, and then if something happens at level 2, maybe that level 2 has a way to destroy itself, you then return from the back row into the extra deck and then out onto the field. So instead of it just summoning from the back row, it now gets affected by something like a Fua loss. I'm wondering if that's the reason for that. They wanted Fua loss to actually have an impact on this instead of just reborn from the back row, which only Maxi would affect. Okay. Angelechy Shatrenga. This is the level 10. Okay, maybe I want to skip to level 2. Where's level 2 at? Because we have something. How many level 2s do we have? Just one level 2? Angelechy Enlisted. So this is what the field spell is going to summon onto the field right away. Tuner, non-tuner. It is a Synchro tuner. You could target one opponent's monster in this card's adjacent column. That's kind of confusing. Target one opponent's monster in this card's adjacent column. What other cards do adjacent column? This is the adjacent column. Whether monsters in this column and its adjacent columns gain this effect. Okay, so it's like the 3 thing, but this is only the adjacent column, not its column and adjacent columns. In this card's adjacent column, banish it, then change control of this card by moving it to one of your opponent's main monster zones in this card's adjacent columns. Huh? So if I'm correctly understanding this, got the level 2, this is a horrible color to use. You have the level 2 in this column, and then this is the opponent's column, and I guess they would have, what are you doing? You're going to target one monster in this card's adjacent column, banish it. So we're going to banish one of these, then change control of this card by moving it to one of your opponent's main monster zones in the adjacent column. So when you banish it, you can just move it to that column or move it to the other one. Is this correct, right? I mean, that this is chess, right? That this is supposed to be the one that goes diagonal. Okay, that's chess. What's the diagonal piece called? Wait, only extra monster zone? No, it would include the extra monster zone. So this would be the extra monster zone, which it would affect the entire thing. The bishop. And so this is a bishop. This is a pawn? Okay, this is a pawn. Yeah, all right, yeah. The pawn attacks diagonal, so it is not a bishop. Interesting. Okay, we got the chess stuff going on here. So the pawn attacks diagonally and then takes the spot potential. Now, a little bit, if you banish the monster in the diagonal column, diagonal, adjacent, it could then move to the other one, though. So it's kind of just like a pawn, but it could do something that a pawn can't do. Move the other way. This is, wow, I can't believe they literally mimicked the ability of a pawn. That is crazy. If the control of this face-up card changes, return this card to the extra deck. Wait, what? You give it to your opponent, and then it immediately triggers on the opponent's side of the field. So that would be triple tactics thrust, triple tactics talent. You banish their monster, and only if you successfully banish do you then get to change control. Then it immediately triggers to return to the extra deck. Then the owner of this card, I'm the owner, even though I gave it to them and they triggered it. I didn't trigger it. They activated it. The owner of this card special summons one Angelechy monster from the extra deck. And someone in the chat, I'm reading the corner of my eye, they're saying this is like getting the piece to the end of the chessboard and evolving. What's it? It's evolving into any Angelechy monster from the extra deck. So you have to, if you have a monster on the field that's banishable by the Enlisted, Enlisted levels up into not even like a specific within a level or 2 levels or 3 levels. It's whatever you want from the extra deck. Holy moly. And I guess the field spell is the main way to whip this out, right? You discard a spell and trap, you summon your level 2 pawn, and then your pawn banishes a monster diagonal from it, and then you give them the pawn goes back to your extra deck, which now turns on your thrust, your talent, and then you get to special summon wherever you want any of these other monsters. This is the level 10, this is the level 8, this is the level 7. So we have a 7, 8, and 10. Maybe we should work our way up. Let's go to level 7 now, yeah? Someone says this could be a Floodgate deck. You what? Level 7 Light Fairy Synchro effect monster. You could target one monster in another column. Any column, does not care that it's adjacent. It does care that it's in this, it can't be in the same column, right? In another, it doesn't say another column than this monster, but I guess that's a redundancy, right? In another column. What other cards say another column? It's the first card to ever say another column. Okay. You could target one monster in another column, assuming that you can't do this one, obviously. Banish it. If this card is placed in the spell and trap zone as continuous spell, this is what the field spell, so that means the field spell gets the pawn out, and the field spell could put this into the back row. This will then trigger. If this card's placed in a spell and trap zone as continuous spell, trigger, add one Angelechy spell from your deck to your hand. You can only use each of the preceding effects once per turn. While this card is treated as continuous spell, each time your opponent activates a card or effect, inflict 500 to your opponent when it resolves. Okay, there's no way this is gonna get crazy. Like, what's the crazy one? Not that one. What's the fusion in Branded that they sometimes use? It's called like Masquerade, right? Is it a level 8? Barely used. Where is that freaking card, mate? Holy moly, no one's using it. This one. I typed mask. Why didn't it come? Did I not see it? They lose 600 every time they want to activate any card or effect. And this is each time the opponent activates a card or effect, inflict 500. But the idea with this is that you could easily summon 2, right? 2 to 3. Can we consistently, I mean, if we get 2 of these in the back row, consistently, 1,000 per card or effect. Huh. 8 effects, you're done. GG. All right. Target a monster, not any card, in any card. So this is all, we're targeting, did the level 2 target? Yeah, it targets. It's not like a non-target in an adjacent column. So far, both of these cards cannot do anything in the same column. So where normally you're trying to avoid the column of, let's say, a raisin, this is where you want to get in their column. If you get into their column, you're protected from getting banished. So this would be important where if they summon this, and then you're, let's say, summoning an Azuna on their turn, you then want to make sure it's in their column, but then if they have a way to move their monster, then they're going to be able to banish you. Okay. Target, banish. Both are spell speed 1. So they're not, technically not disruptions. Now let's go to level 8. You can target one other card in this card's column. In the column. Banish it. I mean, this is one column. This is 4 different columns. So, I mean, this one's a lot more versatile and it's banished. This has to be in the column. But if you're dodging my other card, I just summon this into the column of your monster, and then you're in trouble. If this card is placed in the spell and trap zone as a continuous spell, you could place 1 angelic. So first off, level 2 tuner plus level 7 makes level 9, which there is no level 9, but the level 8, the 8 plus the level 2 tuner will be able to it will upgrade into the level 10 if we want to. All right. So if this card's placed into the back row, you could place an Angelechy Shatranga. That's the bigger one, right? Shatranga. Place this from your extra deck in your spell and trap zone as a continuous spell. So when this becomes a continuous spell, it then creates another continuous spell. All right. And then it could banish its own column. You can only use each of the preceding effects once per turn. While this card is a continuous spell, other Angelechy cards on the field cannot be destroyed by your opponent's card effects. This is kind of like Loudness War. But Loudness War makes your other cards untargetable and indestructible. This is just indestructible by card effects. This is like castling in chess where you switch rook and king places. Is that how you see this, right? Castling in chess. You switch the king and the rook. Okay. Interesting. Angelechy Shatranga. So, you know, all these cards are saying when they become continuous spells, they trigger and they have a continuous spell, continuous effect. Couldn't we use some Snake Eye nonsense, right? What other cards do put cards into continuous spells? Make them continuous spells. Poplar, right? Also the field spell, right? Wedju Temple. You place a monster from your hand in your spell and trap zone, but these are the extra deck monsters. I don't know if this would work. But what about Poplar? Poplar. Target a fire monster in your graveyard. That does not work. You what, mate? Flameburge. You could target a face-up monster on either field or either graveyard. If we have our Synchro in the graveyard, we could target it and put it into our back row, and then it will trigger its effect and have its continuous effect. What's the other Snake Eye? Diablo Star. Is this fire only? When you target a fire monster in your graveyard, okay, so these are fire. I guess it's just Flameburge, but that's kind of ridiculous. Can you subversion your own monster? Target your own. So I'm thinking, are we playing chess Snake Eye where we could subversion our own monster? We want to actually do that? Huh. Okay. Let's see what else we have here. Let's move up to the big one, the boss. So first off, how are we summoning the boss? An 8 plus the level 2 tuner Synchro. Does this have a continuous? It does not have a continuous. Or just simply the field spell once a monster is destroyed. And we were, or at least I was thinking, so far there isn't a way to destroy your own card on purpose, right? To trigger this. You can't self-trigger this from what we've seen so far with the monsters themselves. The pawn does not destroy itself, right? You control. Yeah, you give it to them, then it gets returned back to your extra deck. So we don't really see this being self-triggered yet. Now the Shatranga, you can target one monster your opponent controls, banish it. Is this the queen? This is the queen, right? It's queen, not the king? King or queen? You want to Fallen and Virtuous? I guess that could be an idea. If this card, this is the queen, chat's unsure. We have one king, one queen. We have a king, 3 kings, 1 queen. This is the king. Target one monster the opponent controls, banish it. If this card is placed in the spell and trap zone as a continuous spell, which we know is the field spell, it is the level 8. How does this one becomes a continuous spell? Then it could turn this into a continuous spell. And then when this becomes a continuous spell, you could add an Angelechy trap from your deck or graveyard to your hand. Graveyard allowing us to help play through a Droll and Lockbird possibly. Sure. And what else do we have? You can only use each of the preceding effects once per turn. So banish any monster, whether it's face up or face down. It is a targeting. And then while this card is treated as a continuous spell, your opponent can only attempt to activate up to 5 monster effects per turn. Is this why someone was saying this deck's a Floodgate in the chat earlier? Is this the Floodgate effect that you're talking about? Can only attempt to activate up to 5. Attempt to activate. Who else says attempt to activate? Just you and Kaliga. We have another attempt to activate entering Yu-Gi-Oh! Oh my Jesus. Each player can only attempt to activate one monster effect per turn. So let's talk about some ruling theory here. Fuelos. And Fuelos, and what's the other card I want to talk about? The other card would be Baron to Floor. Let's do the correct thing. There we go. Fuelos says you could only activate one other Mulcharmy. Their turn you activate this. So if you Baron to Floor negates the Fuelos, I could now activate 3 Fuelos in the same turn. The first Fuelos could go through, the second one could get negated, or the first one could get negated. Then I could activate another one, only because the activation is negated. And it says I could only activate. It doesn't say attempt to activate. It says activate. So the difference is activate and use and attempt to activate. So attempt to activate is essentially use. So if you can only activate one monster effect per turn, if that activation is negated, you still attempted, you still used it. Attempt and use are essentially the same. And five times, you can only attempt 5. Is that a big deal? 5. If, let's look at a top tier deck. Let's look at a Cool Tune, right? A Cool Tune combo, if they have a Q. Activate, summon Rotary, Synchro, activate. We're at 4 activates. It's just monsters, right? Is it monsters? 5 monster effects. So by the time we may pass on the Q. Maybe we don't want to look at the top of your deck because I can only activate 5 times. But if we activate Q to look at the deck, we're at 4 activates. And then where's our 5th one? Rotary grab. What do they have in their hand? Okay. Wait, we're done. That's it. It didn't even affect us. Okay. And then on their turn, how many times do we activate? We search. We make a remix. Remix is activating, so activate 1 since it's a new turn, right? 1. And then this is summoning, we're adding. And then effect on summon, we're adding. And then clip is going to special summon. And then we're going to make an RS. We could trigger Rico or we could pass on the clip. The RS can negate something. And then we could save our 5th. So, this is kind of an example where the Cool Tune player can kind of play differently around your back row 5 monster activate restriction and still seemingly make all their plays, especially if they pass on some effects. I don't really need to clip banish from your extra deck. That's something I could pass. That does not need to be part of my 5 activations. Okay, so this does not seem that good if we use Cool Tune as an example. You know what would be really good? If I activate 4 times and then you place this on the field and then, all right, you only have 1 more. Not how that's going to work. It would be 5 by the time this hits the field because that's how Kaliga works. If I activate a Max C, then you summon Kaliga, I could still attempt to activate a monster. It's not, oh, you already activated a monster, you're done. If it worked that way, then this would be good. If they activated 5 times, then you put this in the back row, now they can't activate again, damn. But not that good. This should, if they want it to be good, I don't want to encourage floodgates. This probably had to be 3. But I don't know how easily we could get this in the back row consistently every duel. Okay. Playing this with Centurion's the real goo? I don't think so, right? Isn't Centurion all about continuous spell? Continuous trap, that is. Continuous trap. So it's all, if you have a way to put them in the back row, they're not even a spell. They would be a trap. All right, let's see. So what are the disruptions with this deck so far? None? None of these monsters disrupt unless you count this 5 monster restriction, Floodgate. The banish effect is not a trigger on any of them. It's not quick. It's not a trigger. Right? No trigger, no quick. Is this a go second? I mean, we have more cards to read, but so far, is this a go second deck? They can't be go second deck, right? Let's see. Angelechy Disturbance. So we have a card that the Angelechy, we could actually type this in. Angelechy. And then we could do this one, and then we do trap. What does this have to do with trap? It says spell and trap zone. Shoot. Add an Angelechy trap from your deck or graveyard to your hand when this is placed in the back row. So this one's not going to be working with that. This will not. So just the level 10. What is this? Does this place an Angelechy? No. Add an Angelic. This is a spell only. So only when the level 10 is placed into the back row, which we have many ways to do it, can you search for the trap. Let's see what this does. Give control of one Angelechy monster you control to your opponent until the end phase. And if you give control of the level 2, it immediately triggers. If this control changes, it then returns back to the extra deck. You summon another Angelechy, but that Angelechy on summon is not going to banish or destroy or do anything. During the opponent's turn, that is. Okay. Give them an Angelechy. Then if your opponent controls a face-up card in its adjacent monster zones and or spell and trap zones, their effects are negated. Forever negate. I mean, the thought that if this is a top-tier deck and you have to play around this, I mean, how do you play around this, right? You have to, if you're looking at your own zones here, why is this draw thing messed up? I gotta so this is our back row, and then monster, that's a triangle for some reason. We want to put something here. We want to put something here. We have to avoid the adjacent, because if they give us the monster here, it then negates this entire circle. Besides here, I guess this is safe. So I guess you could put something here. This is protected. It's only it's adjacent. Wait, adjacent column. Wait, adjacent zone or column? Adjacent, it does negate everything around it, not just the columns. The adjacent zones, holy moly. That's a super perma negate in that whole area, mate. And then your extra monster zone, you have to put a monster behind the extra monster zone so that they don't put a monster behind your own extra monster zone. Otherwise, it'll negate your extra monster zone. Wow. So this can negate how many cards? It's maximum negate. Extra, monster, spell and trap. Wait. Yeah, okay, I over-negated. I think it's just 4. I over-negated. It would not negate these, right? I'm confusing myself. You put a monster here. It only negates here, because I was thinking adjacent columns. The max it can negate is 4. That's it, the max. So you're safe here, you're safe here, you're safe there, you're safe there. You get negated here, you get negated here. Okay, interesting. It will mostly negate up to 3, but if it gets that extra monster zone area, then you really got to play around that. You either want a monster in the extra monster, behind the extra monster zone, or you want to keep everything away from that adjacent area. You never want to put a spell and trap in the column of the extra monster zone, or this will negate it. Okay. And so an example would be, you activate Raigeki. They then switch the monster in front of your Raigeki, and your Raigeki is now negated. And then you don't want them to, in addition to negating your Raigeki, also negate a monster, and your extra monster. That'd be bad. Interesting. But otherwise, this is a non-target negate. But not super consistent, right? If I want a Raigeki, what do I do? What do I do if I want a Raigeki? I'll set max C, then activate Raigeki behind it. And by doing that, you now can't negate my Raigeki. You set max C before Raigeki. Holy moly, I can't believe that's a play. That is a play. All right. So you could banish this card from your graveyard, add an Angelechy spell and trap from your deck to your hand. You could use this in the same turn as negating. You could discard this and activate it, even the turn it's sent to the graveyard. So generally these type of restrictions that they normally have in a card unless this would be, you can't activate the turn it's sent to the grave, or you can only activate one effect of this card and only once that turn. It looks like we have none of those restrictions. The immediately when sent to the grave, so we already know Foolish Burial Goods. This card's still limited to 1. We know this archetype's coming once this gets unrestricted. I think so. Foolish Burial Goods, banish this card from the graveyard, add any Angelechy spell trap from your deck to your hand, except another copy of this. You could use each once per turn. That is crazy. Okay, I like that. Interesting. This is probably the most interesting, most powerful card we've read so far, at least for me in my mind. And then the idea that the opponent has to freak out when trying to play around this. Angelechy opening to E4. Angelechy opening to E4. Is E4 a popular chess move opener? Is E4 a popular opening chess move? Yes. E4. Moving the king's pawn 2 squares forward is the most popular and frequently played opening move in chess. Wow. All right. And what does it do? If your opponent goes first, you could also activate this card from your hand during the standby phase of their first turn. What the heck is that? If your opponent goes first, you can also activate this during the standby. Also activate this from your hand and first turn. Also activate this. That's the only one that says that. If opponent goes first, This is is there any card that's reworded that means the same thing? Is this the only card in Yu-Gi-Oh that says, depending on who goes, I don't think a card has ever acknowledged who goes first or second. So that's now an acknowledged game state officially by a card that we know who's going first or second. And it does something different. You know what this would be on? I think I know what this is on. It's on a dueling skill, right? Opponent goes first. First. Is this only searching for the name? Opponent. So this is some sort of dueling skill applied to a card. If your opponent goes first, you could activate this only during their standby phase of their first turn. And it being an opening play, the most popular opening play in chess, it's got to be good, right? Place one Angelechy field spell from your hand, deck, or graveyard face up on your field. And if you do special summon your level 2 or level 7 Angelechy from your extra deck to the extra monster zone. And if you do that, place one Angelechy monster from your extra deck in your spell and trap zone as a continuous spell. What else? Until the end of your next turn after this card resolves, you cannot special summon from the extra deck except Synchro monsters. You put a field spell, monster, summon, and back row, but didn't I say none of these have trigger effects? What is that? That's just setting up for, this is like a go second deck. That's it, right? It's all about go second. And if you summon the level 7, they can't, I guess they could dodge it by putting it in the same column as this to try to avoid it on the next turn. But the other monster, I guess this is your way to set this up. Attempt to activate up to 5 monsters per turn. You get to set that up right away with this. And I guess the idea is, I feel like this restriction should maybe just be a master rule. Maybe they're testing this out. This could maybe be what Yu-Gi-Oh needs overall. Okay. While this card is, so you immediately put this in the back row at the trap. Is the trap respondable? Like, how do we stop this trap from putting us under that minimal floodgate? You're placing, so you cannot ash this. Summon from the action. You can impulse this. Just impulse. Impulse, no ash, no bell. It's not place to the field or add to your hand. It's only place onto the field. Red reboot, impulse. So impulse is pretty much the main way to stop this. Where does it say you can only activate this once? Wait, if you have 3 of this, you could activate 3? But because it summons to the extra monster zone, you can't do more than 1. But if they negate the first one with the impulse, you could play another one. If you do special summon, if you do that, put into your back row. This is not hard once per turn. If they impulse, you activate another one if you have a second copy, but your monster's already... If they deal with the monster in the extra monster zone, you're no longer in the standby phase, so you wouldn't be able to activate the second copy. Okay, so it does counter impulse by itself if you have another one. But you can't, how are you going to even impulse, right? You would not even be able to impulse this because, right, you have to have a card in the field for them to even impulse. So you just can't stop this. This cannot be stopped by any normal means on the first turn of a duel. Besides red reboot. Okay, interesting. But this is just go second stuff besides this. If you go first, this is your only disruption and it's a hard once per turn. Just hopeful multi-negates. And if you're going first, do these cards, like when they're destroyed, they don't like really recursion onto each other. They don't recycle, resummon, block them. It's only go second. So maybe this is a first wave release. Do we have the full picture of the next set? So with these cards being debuted, there's nothing additional for this. We still need the bishop, but the set's complete, right? I don't think there's any more. Bishop and queen are missing. I understand that, but is the set completed? This pack's completed. The black pieces, oh, you're right. Maybe the white pieces signify going second. And then they're going to release the black pieces. The black pieces are going first. Right? That would make sense. But that's the second wave support. So we don't have that. That's not going to even be in this pack. Does that mean this sucks on release? Or we go in second with this? It's got a synchro restriction. Are we playing Tempai? Angelechy Tempai? Is that the way to play this or what? I don't know about that. Let me move this real quick. Okay. Yeah, this doesn't seem good as is. Is this part of the black set? So Angelechy are the white pieces. Shamanite are the black pieces? I have no idea. Okay. Let's see what the comments are. There's no footage of this gameplay whatsoever. I don't think there's any simulators that are playing this, right? Let's see. This is brand spanking new. This is today. I don't know how quick combos. What? How you have combos? Oh, on Dueling Book. Okay, let's see your idea, mate. What's your idea? What are you thinking?
I have this right here. So we
White Albaz. I don't mean to skip what you're saying. I just want to see what you're doing, though. But big shout out to this mad lad. Watch his video if you want the combos. I'm just going to skim what he does. Are we on the right video? Yeah, this is Angelechy. He's just summoning a level 8. And then that's adding the Witness of the Ancients. That summons because we have a Synchro on the field. That summoned the other one. That one, you put them in the back row. Summon a token off of the main one. Got the field spell. We have give them control of the Angelechy, or we discarded the trap to search our deck. Oh my Jesus, I'm confused. What are we doing here? Chaos Angel, back to back. Okay. I guess at the moment, inherently the cards are not going to be disruptive on their own, really, and you got to mix them up. Branded with the chess pieces, branded chess pieces. What else is he playing with them? Branded chess pieces. Branded chess. Vidralis, sure. Branded. Look at that extra deck. It's all chess. Branded chess. I'm not sure how good this will be, but I'm excited for this to make it on over to MD Pro. And then I'm going to check out the archetype myself. Let's see what I'm missing from the comments, if there's anything. And then we're going to get into some gameplay. Can't wait for people to complain that this is a Floodgate turbo deck and not appreciate the unique playstyle of the deck and cool trap card. It's a Floodgate that can be played in already powerful Synchro decks like Cool Tune. So the fear is that people are going to put the Floodgate in any deck, I guess. Cool Tune already Floodgate turbo. Why are we complaining? Okay. Chess deck's fun to play. Some notes. Witness can be searched via the new level 8 Synchro Glitch Clutch, which we just saw in the example video. So that would be off of the Walbaz, that is. Easy access to 3 Angelechy, Rook, King, and Knight, very fast. Because not used in any main deck monster, you could tune your main deck however you want. Punk does a good job of this, they believe. Okay, also take note, Enlisted is a tuner, that's the pawn. This gives free range to synchro into whatever you want. And that can work well with the back-to-back, right? Back-to-back, summon back to level 2 tuner if it's somewhere not in your extra deck. Synchro summon the Rook. Okay, interesting. Wait, what's his standby phase play? Activate trap, place field, summon level 2, 7, place level 10, so they're locked to 5 monster effects only. Congrats, your opponent needs to out that thing within 5 monster effects. In my example, we did not even have to out it. Now, Rico could just pop it, but we essentially ignore it and just play within 5 monster effects, and then it resets for the next turn. I don't know if it's that good to even go out of their way to get rid of it, or if they can't get, it's not like if they can't get rid of it, they lose, but if they can get rid of it, I'm sure you should go out of your way to do it. If I were branded, let's talk about branded. If you turn 0, lock me in a 5 monster effects, and I have Walbaz, what's my play? What is my play? White Fallen. Let's see this one, for example, or this. I activate, that's 1. I activate on field. I summon Ecclesia. If I activate Ecclesia and a Golden Sword, so I don't think we could afford to do that. So I think we go right into the Dark Dragon. Dark Dragon activates, summon Quem to dump from the deck, activate. I think we can't go into Dark Dragon right away. Instead, what we have to do, we have to go into the 3 champion. And then 3 champion will target the face-up 5 monster Floodgate, negate its effects, and you could leave it there if you want, or destroy it. So negate permanently, then you could destroy, and then you're good. Then I guess you go from there. So I guess against branded, it's not that good, especially that you're not going to have other forms of disruption or protection. But isn't there the Angelechy that protects it from being destroyed? I don't think you're going to have that right away, though. Right? Is it this one? Other Angelechy cards could not be destroyed, but the 3 champions would negate if it can't destroy it. All right. Okay. Kind of interesting. Oh, all right. There you go. Early look into the new chess archetype. I'll be playing this on MD Pro on Decade All on Twitch, and also be checking out some others' gameplay. Let's go.